Welcome to Problem Solving with the 4 Operations. Today, we're going to use strategies to solve two-step problems. Today, we're going to discuss how to represent and identify a missing number in a problem, what clue words that can tell us what operations to use, and what strategies to use to answer all parts of a two-step problem. And at the end, you'll complete a practice page with your mentor and the real-world project by yourself. Let's get going. A missing number? It's true. Sometimes a number can be missing from a math equation. This makes us think extra hard about how to use our operations and how well we know our facts. You become almost like a math detective when one of those numbers is missing. We're going to try it together. Pause the video. Let's get your workspace set up. Make sure you have a piece of blank paper and a pencil. You can use a whiteboard and dry erase marker if you prefer. When you are ready, write the following equation on your paper. Blank times 6 equals 30. When you're all set, press play and we can continue. When a problem calls for you to find a missing factor, it's important to think about all the things you know about multiplication and your facts. The first thing we need to know is that we just can't leave a big blank space in the middle of an equation. We represent a missing number by replacing the blank with a letter. We usually use the letter N. Pause here. With your mentor, discuss the parts of the equation that we have and the parts that we don't. We will show you the answers once you push play again. The second thing we need to think about is all the parts of the multiplication sentence that we have and all of the parts that we don't. The first factor is represented by n. Factor 2 is represented by 6, and the product is 30. So we have factor 2 and the product, but factor 1 is missing. Even though it's missing, we do have a letter that can act as a placeholder. Now let's use our fact families to see if we can figure out the missing factor. For multiplication, we know the following facts. N times 6 equals 30, which means 6 times n equals 30. That doesn't really help. For division, we know the following facts. 30 divided by 6 equals n, and 30 divided by n equals 6. This fact can help us because we can do the operation. We can divide 30 by 6. Since we're studying our facts, what is the quotient of 30 divided by 6? Pause if you have to think. "30 divided by 6 equals 5. Since we found this quotient, we replace the n, the missing number, with a 5. That means n equals 5. We have to check to make sure the 5 makes sense in the rest of the fact family. Let's check. Remember the original problem? N times 6 equals 30? We're saying that n equals 5. Let's plug it in to the fact family to make sure we're correct. 5 times 6 equals 30? Yep. 6 times 5 equals 30? Sure thing. 30 divided by 6 equals 5? Uh-huh. And 30 divided by 5 equals 6. Great job. All of these equations make sense when you replace n with 5. That means the answer to n times 6 equals 30 is n equals 5. So let's try it out. Pause the video and work with your mentor. Using a blank paper, use fact families to help you figure out the answer to n in each of the following problems. Don't get caught up on the division ones. Remember, multiplication and division are inverse operations, which means you can use one to figure out the other. We will check your answers on the next slide. Good luck! Welcome back. Check it out. How did you do? don't forget that you can use those fact families all the time to help you figure out facts that you don't know. After a while, these will start to become really familiar to you because you're going to know your facts so well. So let's talk about strategies for problem solving. There are two things to consider when problem solving using the 4 operations. The first thing is identifying clue words that tell you which operations to use. The second strategy is identifying all the questions in the problem. Let's start with clue words. Problems love to give us hints. We have to be on the lookout for words that signal which operation to use. Pause the video here for a minute. With your mentor, discuss some of the words you might keep an eye out for when looking for the 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Push play when you're ready to review. Here's a list of just some of the clue words. Many you've probably seen and many you've probably talked about when you were discussing with your mentor. Take a quick look in subtraction. Comparisons. How many more than, less than, greater than, or fewer than? All signal that subtraction is going to take place. In addition to clue words, you must also make sure that you're answering all the questions being asked in a problem. There's 2 strategies you can use to make sure you know what tasks you must complete before a problem is done. The first one is numbering the parts of a question. The second is highlighting or underlining the questions. We're going to practice each strategy together, and then you will work with your mentor. Here are some supplies that you're going to need. The 2-step problem practice sheet found on the Concept 6 student page, a pencil and 1 colored pencil, and a highlighter if you would like. Pause the video and get your work area ready. Sometimes a problem has more than one task. You have to solve 2 problems in one. One strategy we can use to make sure we get everything done is to number the problem. Let's try together first. Have out your 2-step problem practice sheet. We're going to work on number 1 for this strategy. Pause the video to get your work area ready. Jack had a collection of sports cards. He has 7 basketball cards. Jack has 2 times as many baseball cards. How many cards does Jack own? On Tuesday, Jack gave his little brother 3 of the cards. How many cards does he have left? What was the first question that we have to answer, and what operation can we use to solve it? What was the second question we had to answer, and what operation can we use to solve that problem? Pause the video to discuss these questions with your mentor. Hit play when you're ready to move on. Let's talk about the first question. As you can see, I numbered number 1 and put a circle around it near the question that I have to answer first. How many cards does Jack own? Well, I have to figure out what operation to use, and I realized that I actually have to do 2, multiplication and addition. I knew that because I found out that he had 7 basketball cards, but he has 2 times as many baseball cards, which means that his collection is a combination of basketball and baseball cards. So I will multiply the basketball cards by the baseball cards, and then I will add the 2 totals together. For the second question, I label it 2 and put a circle around it, and I decided that I have to subtract. And I knew it was subtraction when I saw that he gave his little brother 3 cards, and it asked, how many does he have left? So I'm going to take away 3 from the total number of cards that Jack has. Let's keep going. So we're going to solve problem 1 using multiplication and addition, and then we're going to solve problem 2 using subtraction. I need the answer to problem 1 in order to solve problem 2. So pause the video and work with your mentor to solve. We're going to check our answers on the next slide. Remember, for problem 1, you have the number of basketball cards, but you don't have the number of baseball cards. you're going to multiply 7 by 2 because the baseball cards are 2 times as many. Good luck. See you on the next slide. So let's go to problem 1. He has 7 basketball cards and 2 times as many baseball cards. That means I multiply 7 times 2 and I get 14. That 14 represents the number of baseball cards, not the total number of cards. He had 7 basketball cards and 14 baseball cards. I can add them together to get a total of 21 cards in all. Problem 2 uses that 21 cards in all, but we gave away 3 cards the other day. That means 21 cards minus 3 cards, which leaves him with 18 cards. Another strategy you can use to make sure that you get everything done in a 2-step problem is to underline or highlight the questions. You choose. You can either highlight or underline. In this case, I chose to underline. Have out your 2-step problem practice sheet, and we're going to work on number 2 for this one. Pause the video to get your work area ready. Jamie was preparing for her sister's surprise birthday party. She ordered balloons from the party store. She ordered the balloons to be delivered in groups of 3. The party store delivered 5 groups of balloons. How many balloons did Jamie order? When Jamie was decorating, 1 group of balloons flew away. How many balloons out of her total did Jamie have left to decorate with? So let's break it down. What was the first question you had to answer, and what operation are you going to need to solve it? And what was the second question you had to answer, and what operation did you need to solve it? Let's pause this video here and discuss with your mentor. Hit play when you're ready to move on. The first question we're going to represent with a green line underneath. The first question I had to answer was, how many balloons did Jamie order? And I chose multiplication as the operation for this because she ordered 5 groups of balloons and there were 3 balloons in each group. I hear equal groups and I hear the word groups. So to me, that signals multiplication. My second question is going to be represented with a pink line. How many balloons out of her total did Jamie have left to decorate with? And I chose subtraction because I saw the words have left and the balloons flew away, which means they were taken out of the total. That to me says subtraction. So go ahead and solve problems 1 using multiplication and problem 2 using subtraction. Pause the video and work with your mentor to solve. We'll check our answers in the next slide. Good luck! Let's start with problem number 1. How many balloons did Jamie order? She had 5 groups of balloons and 3 balloons in each group. 5 times 3, which gives me a product of 15 balloons in all. I'm going to use that 15 balloons in all and know that 1 group of them flew away. Not 1 balloon, 1 group. And if I go back in the problem, I know that Jamie had her balloons in groups of 3, which means that 3 of the balloons flew away. 15 balloons minus 3 balloons equals 12 balloons left to decorate with. So let's recap. Today you learned to represent and identify a missing number in a problem using the letter N. You learned to identify clue words that tell you what operation to use, and you use strategies to answer all parts of a 2-step problem. What's next? It's time for you to practice and apply what you've learned. The first thing you're going to do is practice with your mentor using the Concept 6 guided practice page. Complete the practice with your mentor and then check your answers using the guided practice answer key link on the Concept 6 student page. Then work on the real-world project on your own and review your work using the rubric from the Project Tools page with your mentor after you've finished. Thank you for all of your hard work in all 6 of our concepts. I'm so proud of all the work you've done. Keep it up and you will be a multiplication and division master.